Hello students. Students, today we will going to finish with the last part of this chapter, the address. So we have completed till when both were having conversation, the narrator as well as the daughter of Mrs. Darling, that 15-year-old daughter. Because when the narrator said this line, yes, I said, you get so used to touching all these lovely things in house, you hardly look them anymore. You only notice when something is missing because it has to be repaired or because you have lent it for example, right? So here she meant to say that the narrator, she said that yes, and told her that when you are so used to touching into your house, you hardly notice anything, right? When you are touching all these in a regular basis, at that time you hardly notice the things, but you notice when something is missing, right? When something is missing from your house or needs to be repaired, or because you have lent it, you have given it for a period of time to someone else, then you actually feel the importance of that particular thing. So narrator want to tell this, and at the end she just concluded with the line for example, right? Means she haven't completed the whole statement, she haven't completed the whole line, that she mean to say that for example like your mother Mrs. Darling, but she only said for example, right? So from the next, we will going to start with, again I heard the unnatural sound of my voice and I went on. I remember my mother once asked me if I would help her polish the silver. So here the narrator, she whenever she was speaking something at that moment, or at that moment of time, she was hearing her own voice as very unnatural sound, and she was just recalling her past memories with her mother, that my mother used to say me that like if you are having time, then just go and polish the silver cutlery set. It was a long time ago and I was probably bored that day. So here the narrator, she was like remembering, and she was like telling to remembering also, and she was telling to that girl also that it was very long time and maybe I was bored that day, or perhaps I had to stay home because I was ill, as she had never asked me before. And at that day I have stayed, in house because I was not feeling well. I asked her which silver she meant, and she replied, surprised, that it was spoons, forks, and knife, of course. And when she asked mom which silver you are talking of, and at that time she get to know that the cutlery set, the cutlery set they are using for eating was actually made up of silver, right? So here she is saying, I asked her with silver she meant, and she replied, surprised, it was a spoon. So all these things, all the things of cutlery like spoons, forks, and knife, of course, they are of silver, right? Because earlier time, what happened, like in British times also, as well as these people are Jews, so they were very rich. Mrs. S was rich, and the daughter of Mrs. S, obviously she was also rich, so they use silver cutlery set for eating. And that was strange thing, I didn't know that the cutlery we ate of, that was silver, and at that day only I get to know that the cutlery we ate of was made up of silver. The girl laughed again. I bet you don't know it either. So she said, I'm betting you even you don't know. I looked intently at her. What do we eat with, she asked, and she just started staring at her, and she just asked a question. What were you talking? What do we eat with, she asked. Well, do you know? She hesitated. She walked to the sideboard and wanted to open a drawer. So what happened when they were having conversation with each other? So she just walked away to the sideboard and opened the drawer because she wanted to tell that we are having more and more silver sets, silver cutlery set of silver. Tick. I look I will look. It's in here. I jumped up. I was forgetting the time. I must catch my train. So here, the narrator, all of a sudden, what she thought that, oh my god, it's too late, and now go because I have to catch my train, right? It's too late, I have to catch my train. She had her hand on the drawer. Don't you want to wait for my mother? And then afterwards, what happened? That the girl of 15, she said that, don't you want that don't you want that my mother should come and you have to talk with my mother? So at least just wait for few moments more, right? So here she is saying, no, I must go. I walked to the door. The girl pulled the drawer open. I can find my own way. So she said, no, no, now it's getting late and now I have to go, because at this point of time, the narrator feels that it's better to leave this place, because if I will not going to leave this place, these all things will going to remind me, and there is no use of fighting, or there is no use of taking things back, right? Because lot and lot of memories are attached with these things. So at this point of time, she decided it's better to leave and just take a fresh start. So here the narrator, she said, no, you just stay over here, I will going to find my own way, means I will go by my way. As I walked down the passage, I heard the jingling of spoons and forks. So, as she was walking down, as she was going through the passage, she heard the sounds, the ringing of spoons and fork. Then, uh, when she was out from the door, at the corner of the road, I looked up at the nameplate, and she just started seeing the nameplate again. When she was out from the door, again she just looked up at the nameplate, Marconi Street. It said, I had been at number 46, and she said that it is Marconi Street. I was actually standing at number 46. The address was correct. So here she's saying the address was correct, but she didn't want to remember it anymore. I wouldn't go back there, because the objects that are linked in your memories with the familiar life of the former time intently lose their value when saved from them, and you see them again in a strange surrounding. So she was like thinking that it's better to go, and she wanted to go back, as things in there reminded her of memories which is linked with her old times, old memories. But now what happened, they lose their value when you are separated from them. Definitely now she's saying that it just loses the value as I am separated from them. And definitely also the other reason is when you see these belongings of theirs in strange atmosphere, right? So she said that it's no use of remembering all these things, it's better to forget, that would be better for me, right? So till where I have completed, see them again in strange surrounding, and what should I have done with them in a small rented room where the shreds of blackout paper still along the window, and no more than a handful of cutlery fitted in the narrow table drawer. So she said that it's like no use, and what I will going to do, I mean what I will going to do with all these things if I take back also from Mrs. Darling, where I will going to keep these things, because now I am living in a small rented room. And also you get to know by this that like her mother was no more, Mrs. S was no more, right? And so here the narrator, she is saying that I was living in a small rented room and it's useless taking things back, where even she don't have curtain, she is using blackout paper hung over the window and no cutlery fitted in the narrow drawer. And also she was having one table with very small drawer, so handful of cutlery will only going to came in that will going to come in that drawer, right? Else no more cutlery set will going to fit in that drawer. So finally she decided, she resolved that it would be better and it would be the easiest thing to forget this address and start my life with a fresh note, right? So we have completed this chapter. Next we will start with Ranga marriage.